All right, so this is what we did in class today. This is the first house that we worked on, and we ended up with a floor plan, a front elevation, and a right elevation, which should be over here. So the first thing I want us to do today is I want us to create a basement. So I'm going to use the copy command. The copy command is here. Actually, a few things that I taught you. First thing I taught you is how to use a selection window. When you go from top right, if you click once, if you left click and hold it, it'll make this goofy shape. But if you left click and let it go, it'll make a green box with a dashed line. That green box with the dashed line or hidden line will select whatever it touches. If you go from top left to bottom right, or from left to right, it'll only select what is totally inside of that. See how there it's selecting nothing? Well, now it's going to select all of those lines because the blue from left to right only selects what's inside of it. The green from right to left selects what it touches. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy the main floor plan up. And I'm going to go straight up with it, and I use the window to do that, and I use the copy command. So the copy command is right here. It says select the objects. I windowed them from right to left or left to right. It doesn't matter. I'm going to copy them. I use my window, pick it, and then I move it directly up. My F8 is on, so I moved everything directly up. Also, I moved earlier on, I moved that house below the drawing instead of above it. Now to make my foundation, I don't need any of this junk. I just want the outside of the exterior walls. I'm going to get rid of everything else. I'm going to make the outside of my exterior walls. I also don't need the roof on my basement plan because it's not relevant. So I'm going to erase all that stuff. And then the thickness of the foundation walls are 8 inches instead of 6 inches. So I'm going to take all those exterior walls and make them 8. Then I'm going to fillet them. Oops, I need to offset that one, missed it. 8 inches. And then I'm going to fillet all this. So I hit fillet, enter, fillet, select both lines, hit enter, fillet, both lines, enter, fillet. You get it? And I'm hitting enter. The other thing I want to do is I want to make a new layer. So I use this thing up here called layer properties. And I click on that, and then I click on this button right here, which is new layer. So I'm going to click on that. Oops, you guys don't see that. It's in a different screen. There you go. So I'm going to click on this button here called new layer. And I can make a new layer. I want to make one called 005 hidden. Once you type that in, I'm going to have to call it hidden 2 because I already have a few. And then I'm going to make that color gray 8. I'm going to make that gray 8. And I'm going to make a new layer here called 030 wall. So I'm going to call it wall 2 because I already have the one called wall. I'm going to make that color 7. So now I have 2 layers. Here's my colors over here. I'm going to make that one color 7. The other one before, I made it color 8. So the previous one was color 8, which is right there. Do not use these up here. Just use these, the top 9. So I have a couple layers there that I want to use later on. So now I want to make a footing. So this foundation wall is 8-inch thick concrete foundation wall. It's got 24-inch footing underneath it, and the footing sits directly over top, the center of that. So if I have a 24-inch footing and an 8-inch wall sits directly over top, that means the footing sticks out 8 inches to the outside and 8 inches to the inside. So I can do this. I can move this wall out, and this is going to be the outside of my footing. And then I can fillet all these things again. If you're good with AutoCAD, you know there's an easier way to do this, but I'll show it to you later. So you're turning into fillet professionals. So this is going to be my outside of my wall. And then when I want to put these objects, these new lines on the new layer I just created, I can select them all, hit the down arrow beside the layer, and go put it on that layer called 005. I think I called it hidden 1. There we go. And I also know that my footing is 24 inches thick. So this right here is my concrete foundation wall, this 8-inch thick. I'll put a quick hatch on this. Don't expect you guys to know how to do this, but I'll make it easier to read for you. There's concrete. There. So I'll make a yellow hatch inside of that. That's my concrete wall. And this other line here, this is my footing below. So I want this footing to be 24 inches, so I'm going to offset 24. And now it's on the layer that I want. And I'm going to fillet this. There you go. Now I've got my concrete wall with my 24-inch footing below. Another thing I want you to do is, this is a hip roof. I want us to get rid of these 2 lines, and I want us to turn it into a gable roof. If you don't know what a gable roof is, just Google what a gable roof is, and you can see what it looks like. See if I have it handy here still. There's a gable roof. So instead of the fascia going across the face, I want to go up. So this fascia end here is going to end up being 6 inches. So instead I want to go like this. I want to go 6, and I want to offset these 6 inches in. See how they almost offset out there? And I'm going to fillet that. I'm going to fillet this with the edge of with the outside of my wall. I think I put the previous one in the wrong spot. It doesn't really matter. I want to fillet it to here. And then I want to trim these. I want to get rid of all this stuff from the outside there. Looks great. And I want to trim, actually I can get rid of this one. That one's gone. I extend these lines up, use the extend command. Extend this one. I might have done that post wrong in class. I want it to look like this. This is now a gable roof. Well, when I'm doing my elevation off to the side, I want to end up using all of these heights that I already have. So I do my plans. Here's my foundation plan up here. Here's my main floor plan here, and here's my front elevation. Now I want to do a right elevation. So the right elevation will look something like this. There's my grade. Here's the underside of my fascia. Here's the top of my fascia. And here's the top line. So I'm not going up and choosing line and all that. I'm using the keyboard shortcut for line. And then what I can also do is I can do this. I can copy this. So the copy command. And I want to copy this floor plan over, and then I'm going to rotate it. So there's the rotate command here. Select that object, hit enter, and then rotate it to the right. And now I can see I've got all my walls lined up here. So there's a wall, there's a wall, and there's a wall. So I can trim, actually not yet, here's my roof. So these 3 lines here, these are my roofs, and my walls are here. So my roof will end right here. I'm going to go, you guys won't have a yellow line, I'm just using that. So this is the edge of my roof, see that? See how the edge of my roof here lines up with my roof down here? Well, it's the same roof. So I'm now going to do this, watch this. This is how I get a gable roof. This big, huge trim command. There we go. And then all these walls, the walls don't go past the roof, right? So I'm going to get rid of all of those. And then I don't need these lines extending up anymore. Look at that. There's your side elevation. And then I don't need my walls going past the dirt, so I can just trim all those things up. I've got one more thing. I've got this post right here, so I'm going to offset that 6 inches. I know that that's 6 inches. Come on. And then here's my door. I'll just take the door. I usually just drag it down like this. There's my door. I can even drag it past and trim it later. I know the door is 7 feet tall. Well, something else is also 7 feet tall. That window is 7 feet tall. Or I could have just taken this line down here and offset it. That's 7 inches. Could have taken this line down here and offset it 7 feet. And watch this. It's the same place. You see that? Well, that's how I can get the top of my door. Oops, I got rid of all those lines. Offset 7 feet. And I offset it up. I'm going to trim these things up. Sorry, I use keyboard shortcuts. Total habit. There's my trim right there. Could also filleted that. There's my side elevation. So what I asked you to do is I asked you to cut this section. So looking through this window, looking toward the door, I would like you to give a shot at cutting that section. Now the top of the foundation, I want the top of the foundation to be 6 inches above the dirt. So the top of the foundation is 6 inches like this, and then the floor, I'm just offsetting now, the floor is 12 inches. So it'll look something like this. Now that doesn't really work with my door, so that's kind of a bit goofy doing this, but let's give that a shot. So the top of my foundation is 6 inches above the dirt, and then the top of my floor is 12 inches above that. I gave you all that information in the chat. See if you can make it happen. Your section should look eerily like this, right? Because we're just all we're doing is drawing. This is an elevation. I'm going to show you something quick here. This is the section line that I want you to cut. Well, this is an elevation. Oops, that's not totally true. No, that's not totally true. I wish I didn't say any of that. It's essentially the same drawing. So your section should look something like this, except for now it just looks deeper into the ground. Where the section is cutting through the main floor, it's also cutting through the foundation, right? It's cutting through like that, and it's cutting through this whole thing looking this way. Do your best. See if you can cut that section, and we'll review it more on Wednesday. Good luck, everybody.